And I've been trying to make it my mission to educate you about as many of the gubernatorial candidates as possible, because it's right now a pretty wide open field. And gradually I've been speaking to those candidates one by one. Today's guest is Kevin Stitt, and he joins us. Good afternoon.
Hey, good afternoon. Thanks for having me.
Great to have you here. So tell us about Kevin Stitt.
So I grew up in Norman, and my dad was a pastor there, and I went to school in Stillwater, so I went to Oklahoma State, got an accounting degree. Kind of a unique part about my story. After college, after an accounting degree from OSU, I moved to Tulsa, met my wife, Sarah, and we've been married. It'll be 20 years in May. We have 6 children, from 17 down to 4, so big family.
Wow.
And I got into the mortgage business shortly after college, started my company, Gateway Mortgage Group, with $1,000 in a computer. Today, we have more than 1,100 employees. We have offices all over the country. We do business in 40 states, have about 165 offices, never been in politics. But I'm just so concerned about our state because I travel. I visit all of our offices all over Texas and in Arkansas and Colorado, and I just see all this momentum and job creation. The economy is booming all around us. Then I come back to Oklahoma, and I just feel like we're down in the dumps a little bit. You know, we had a negative 3% growth, and compared to all the states around us growing, and we're going to 4-day school weeks, which is so frustrating. We got this budget nightmare. Then I look at who's going to lead us out of it, and to me it just looks like more of the same, just the career politicians running for their next election. I truly believe we're going to be in the same situation 8 years from now if we keep electing the same folks. And so that's why I'm doing it. I want to take off from my company, get us growing again, focus on the next generation, not the next election.
Kevin Stitt's with us on News Radio 1000 KTOK. And I imagine working in the business that you've worked in so long, you are particularly worried about our deficit problem.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So what do you have do you have a platform for the deficit problem?
Yeah, in business, we look at revenue and we look at expenses, right? I'm really excited. You know, they first predicted about $1 billion shortfall this year.
Yeah.
And now they're showing about $160 million, and we're starting to climb out of it. So what I'm pumped about is what's happening federally with Trump, with the way he has lowered the corporate tax rate from 35 to 21. To me, that kind of leveled the playing field internationally. And so there's going to be a move to bring manufacturing back to the U.S. There's going to be a move to repatriate dollars. I think Oklahoma has a great opportunity to capture that growth over the next 10 years. But we're going to need a business guy. We're going to need an outsider that comes in that knows how to get our economy growing, to get it going again. When I've traveled the whole state, I've been to all 77 counties, and people are so frustrated with the lack of accountability. We have something like 120 different state agencies. There is no transparency, no accountability at all. The governor needs the authority to hire the right people at those different state agencies. And as an outsider, as a business person, I've made the tough decisions. I know how to hire the right people and put the performance metrics in place to make sure they run efficiently. And as conservatives, we know we've got to deliver services to our citizens. Let's just do it effectively and efficiently.
That seems to be the trends, that is citizen government people, people who don't have a background in law, don't have a background in any type of government, getting into it. And I think it's refreshing.
Well, thank you. I do too. I think our forefathers wanted that to happen. They never envisioned career politicians. They wanted us to temporarily leave our farm or business and go serve our state. And that's my idea of how it should work. And you've got to have a governor that's independent, that's thinking about what's best for all 4 million Oklahomans, and not the career politicians that are so worried about getting reelected they'll never make a tough decision against this industry or this special interest group or this industry. And you've got to have a governor that can break through all those silos and finally do what's best for all of Oklahoma.
Kevin Stitt, I wanted to ask you, speaking of what everybody's been talking about today, the teacher situation, and maybe what you'd like to see in your first year as governor. Kevin Stitt, candidate for governor. If you'll hang on, we'll talk some more in just a minute.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. Gubernatorial candidate Kevin Stitt joining us. And Kevin, we've been talking for a couple of days now about the teacher situation. Do you have any take on that?
Yeah, it's close to my heart. That's one of the reasons I'm running for governor. Because as I've gotten into this and started understanding the issues, what I'm frustrated about is we actually remediate 4 out of 10 of our high school kids when they go to college. In other words, they're not prepared for college. Mm-hmm. They have to be remediated and do high school math again before they're ready. We're going to 4-day school weeks. We're not paying our teachers what the regional average is. And I look at, what I call market or average is the 6 states around Oklahoma. And I think we have to pay our teachers what market is, what they pay in Texas and Kansas and Arkansas. When I hire underwriters at my company, if I don't pay what market is, then I don't get the best and brightest, then I have high delinquency. Eventually I go out of business. So I think that's just a kind of a pay to play. So I'm just shocked that our legislature cannot get this thing done and get them up to the regional average. And I think that's what the teachers want. That's what they expect. That's what we expect as a state to do. And so I think teachers want to be in the classroom, and we need to get that fixed. But that's one of the reasons I'm running.
In the break, we were talking about neighboring states and some of the things that they do.
Yeah.
Is there anything in particular that you're seeing in a neighboring state you would like to adopt here in Oklahoma?
Yeah, to me, Texas is a perfect example. South Carolina is a great example. We talked about that. I know you used to live in Charleston.
Yeah.
I think it comes down to leadership. And I look at Dallas, and you can see cranes going up in every direction. And Dallas doesn't have any oceans. They don't have any mountains. It's back to policy. And day one in office, everybody's going to know that Oklahoma is open for business as I'm governor, because it's just, to me, I think it comes down to a vision and a plan. And in the private sector, our company, we've got a vision to be a top 10 lender. And I've got the same vision for our state. I think we can be a top 10 state. How we get there, I've got a 5 pillars that I run my company with, and I think about leading the state the same way. You need a growth plan, education, health, infrastructure, and efficiencies. So that's kind of the big pillars that never change. What changes is how you're going to execute every year. What are the 5 things you're going to do under growth to get our state growing again?
And that was my next question, too. But along those lines, you touched on it earlier about accountability. Do we need more auditing in the state and in state government?
Absolutely. I mean, in the private sector, what happened at the State Department of Health would have never happened. Everybody is so frustrated. I've been holding town meetings all across the state in all 77 counties. People are tired of coming in last place. They're tired of the lack of accountability. Every time we turn around, they're losing $32 million here, and then the finger pointing starts, and nobody is accountable. It's the auditor's fault, or it's the board's fault, or it was the agency director's fault. I'm responsible for all 25 cost centers at my company, and I'm ready to be responsible for state government and bring that accountability and that transparency back to state government. Other states are doing it. Running state government is more like running a business than anything federally. Think about it. We spend $22 billion in our state. We only get to appropriate a very small portion of it. It's about $6.5 billion that we actually get to appropriate. We spend $22 billion, though, and we're hiring people who've never hired anybody, set strategy, led, made a tough decision. We need to have a business approach to running state government. We don't have any different issues here than Texas does or any other states around us. Let's get competitive and let's go beat those guys. We need to be top 10.
A lot of pro and con, especially in the latest session, regarding gross production tax. Do we need to raise gross and production tax, or is that irrelevant, do you think, to state government?
The last thing I would do is add more taxes to a failing system. So in business, we look at revenue and we look at expenses, and we can look at revenue in a second. I would never pick on one industry over another. I do think we need to look at some of those tax structures and some of the giveaways to some of the different industries. But I think we're very fortunate to have oil and gas, and so would never pick on oil and gas and put them at an uncompetitive advantage against other states that they compete with. To me, you have to go back and run state government efficiently and effectively. We need to audit those agencies before and get the right business heads on the top of every single agency. The last thing I'm going to do with 25 different cost centers at my company, if I've got a failing department, is throw more revenue on it.
And Kevin Stitt, candidate for governor, you mentioned you're all over the state. Where are you going next?
Well, we're heading back to Tulsa tonight, but we've been all day in Oklahoma City and Norman, and we're back here on Friday, back in the city. And tomorrow we're going to be in Durant for a governor's forum. So we're all over the state tomorrow as well. And yeah, it's a lot of fun for me to get to meet all the folks and hear the issues and learn, because I can't do state government by myself. I can't do my business by myself. It's going to take all of us. And there are smart people in this state. And the first thing I'm going to do is end the good old boy system. You've got to have an independent governor that's not worried about getting reelected, that's thinking about the next generation. and not the next election to really turn our state around. If we keep electing the same folks, we're going to be in the same situation 8 years from now.
Kevin Stitt, where can people learn more about Kevin Stitt?
You can go to stittforgovernor.com. That's STITT for governor.com. You can like us on Facebook. You can email me personally at kevin@stittforgovernor.com, and we'll get back with you. But, we're just having a blast. Our fundraising's been going great. We didn't enter the race until July of last year. And so our first 6 months, everything kind of goes in quarters in the governor's race. And our first 6 months, we actually out-fundraised every single other candidate. And we were unknown. And I was super humbled because people are just getting excited about an outsider. And people that are giving and getting involved have never been involved in politics before. But we have such a great state here. I know we can do it.
Kevin Stitt, I hope to have you back right before the primary.
I'd love to. That'd be great.
Thanks for joining us this afternoon.